Hi, students, and welcome to week 5 of ESL 2B. Our topic for this week is I booked a trip. Let's get started. In this video, we will ask about and explain things that happened previously, and we'll talk about travel. As always, we'll start with some examples, and I'll tell you about my trip. Pay attention to the highlighted words and think about when did these actions happen. When I got to the train station, the last train to Boston had already left. I tried to buy a bus ticket, but the last bus had also departed half an hour earlier. Okay, we'll see another example. Keep thinking about when these things happened. My mom missed her flight yesterday. She arrived to the boarding gate at 3:30, but they had already closed the gate at 3:20. Last example. This morning, the train conductor came around to check everyone's tickets. I hadn't had time to buy a ticket on the platform before getting on the train. The conductor let me buy the ticket then, but I had to pay $10 extra. What a ripoff. Okay, good. So what did we see? What's going on here? Let's take another look at one of our examples. When I got to the train station, the last train to Boston had already left. Okay, so when did these actions happen? Let's take a look on a timeline. And we see now is over here on the right. Okay, in the past, I got to the train station, right? That action happened and finished in the past. But even before that, the last train to Boston had already left, right? So we see that this action over here, it had left, happens even before an action in the past. This tense is called the past perfect. We use it to talk about something that had happened before another action in the past, right? So again, one action in the past, and this had left happened even earlier, even one step before that in the past. Okay, so that's when we use it. And let's take a look at some other examples of this verb tense. They had closed the gate. You had boarded already. In these examples, think about the person who's doing the action, right? Who is doing what? Do we see any changes with the way we read our verbs? They had closed the gate. You had boarded already. We'd found our seat. He'd helped me carry my luggage. She hadn't arrived yet. I hadn't had time to buy a ticket. Okay, think for a minute. What do you notice? What changes? What do you think the rule might be? So let's take a look. We have all of our different people here, right? I, you, they. And then we have our verb forms. So we can say, for example, you had taken, or he had taken, I had taken, and they had taken. So the rule here is that we use the same verb forms for all people. With the past perfect, we are always going to have had plus our past participle, right? That's usually our verb in ed, or if it's irregular, like take, then the irregular. Okay, so I had taken, we had taken, they had taken, it's all the same. Okay, we also see that we have on the right a short form, right? This was our long form, had plus past participle. We can also use the short form. Here, we can get rid of the HA, we keep just the D, add our apostrophe, and we get taken, right? So for example, he'd helped, or we'd found. We can do the same thing in the negative. Here, we remove the O, we keep the NT and add an apostrophe to give us hadn't, right? She hadn't arrived yet, or I hadn't had time to buy a ticket. Good, let's go on. And we'll see some more examples. Here, pay attention to the words in orange and blue. What's the difference? How was your trip to London last year? A bit disappointing, honestly. I'd planned to spend the whole week photographing monuments in the city, so I'd packed my professional camera in my suitcase. But then the airline lost my luggage. Oh no, had you bought travel insurance? Thankfully I had, so I was eventually reimbursed the cost of the camera. Still, it kind of ruined my trip. Okay, so looking at the words in blue here, what's the difference? What's different between what we're doing with the orange words and those in blue? We'll see another example. Think about that same question. Remind me, where had you planned to go last summer? We'd planned to go to Edinburgh to visit my boyfriend's parents, but in the end, we had to cancel the trip because of travel restrictions. Oh yeah, that's a shame. Okay, good. So what's going on? What did we see? What was the difference between those words in blue and orange? That's right. So we are asking questions with those words in blue, right? Asking questions with the past perfect. So to ask a yes or a no question, we change the order of the subject, the person, and our word had. For example, we start with the sentence, you had bought travel insurance, right? Not a question, just a statement. To make our question, we change the order. We move the word had to the beginning. Had you bought travel insurance? Good, so those are our yes or no questions. Now, to ask about specific information, right, to ask for a person or a place or a thing, we can use the same structure, but we add a question word to the beginning of the sentence. So where had you planned to go last summer? Or which travel insurance company had you used? Okay, so that's all for today. Now it's your turn to try it out at work. So we have a video for you on our Padlet page. I'll take you there and show you where it is. Okay, here we are. And in our column here on the job site, you can find our post, week 5. We'll watch this video of a crew pouring a concrete driveway. And we have some questions for you about what they had done before pouring the concrete. So you can write 3 to 4 sentences explaining all of the steps they had already taken before pouring the concrete. And you can leave us your answer in the comment section right here. Okay, so that's just about everything. Before next class, for more practice, you can first comment on our Padlet post at work. And you can also practice your vocab flashcards and your class audios for pronunciation on Teachable. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in class next week. Till then.